Hello readers, welcome back to Nutan's library. Second law, make it attractive. The more attractive an opportunity is, the more likely it is to become habit forming. Our goal is to learn how to make our habits irresistible. You see, habits are a dopamine-driven feedback loop. When dopamine rises, so does our motivation to act. Without dopamine, desire dies, and without desire, action stops. Every behavior that is highly habit-forming, like taking drugs, eating junk food, playing video games, browsing social media, is associated with higher levels of dopamine. The same can be said for our most basic habitual behaviors, like eating food, drinking water, having sex, and interacting socially. Moreover, dopamine is released not only when you experience pleasure, but also when you anticipate it. Whenever you predict that an opportunity will be rewarding, your levels of dopamine spike in anticipation. And whenever dopamine rises, so does your motivation to act. It is the anticipation of a reward, not the fulfillment of it, that gets us to take action. The greater the anticipation, the greater the dopamine spike. We need to make our habits attractive because it is the expectation of a rewarding experience that motivates us to act in the first place. So how can we make our habits attractive? Number 1. Use temptation bundling. Temptation bundling is one way to make your habits more attractive. The strategy is to pair an action you want to do with an action you need to do. You are more likely to find a behavior attractive if you get to do one of your favorite things at the same time. Perhaps you want to hear about the latest celebrity gossip, but you need to get in shape. Using temptation bundling, you could read the tabloids and watch reality shows at the gym. Maybe you want to get a pedicure, but you need to clean out your email inbox. So solution is get a pedicure while processing overdue work emails. What happens actually is more probable behaviors will reinforce less probable behaviors. In other words, even if you don't really want to process overdue work emails, you'll become conditioned to do it if it means you get to do something you really want to do along the way. Number 2. You can combine temptation bundling with the habit stacking strategy we discussed earlier to create a set of rules to guide your behavior. The habit stacking plus temptation bundling formula is 1. After current habit, I will habit I need. After habit I need, I will habit I want. For example, if you want to watch sports but you need to make sales calls, so you can say, after I get back from my lunch break, I will call 3 potential clients. This is the need. After I call 3 potential clients, I will check ESPN. This is the want. If you want to check Facebook but you need to exercise more, you can say, after I pull out my phone, I will do 10 burpees. This is the need. After I do 10 burpees, I will check Facebook. This is the want. So doing the thing you need to do means you get to do the thing you want to do. Number 3. Know that it's the culture we live in that determines which behaviors are attractive to us. We tend to adopt habits that are praised and approved of by our culture because we have a strong desire to fit in and belong to the tribe. One of the deepest human desires is to belong. So often you follow the habits of your culture without thinking, without questioning, and sometimes without remembering. We tend to imitate the habits of 3 social groups. Number 1, the close, that is family and friends. You see, proximity has a powerful effect on our behavior. so we imitate the habits of our close ones. We pick up habits from the people around us. So how can we build better habits given that we imitate our near and dear ones? One of the most effective things you can do to build better habits is to join a culture where, number one, your desired behavior is the normal behavior, and two, you already have something in common with the group. New habits seem achievable when you see others doing them every day. If you are surrounded by fit people, you are more likely to consider working out to be a common habit. If you are surrounded by jazz lovers, you are more likely to believe it's reasonable to play jazz every day. Your culture sets your expectation for what is normal. So surround yourself with people who have the habits you want to have yourself. You'll rise together. Number two, the many, that is the tribe. Whenever we are unsure how to act, we look to the group to guide our behavior. We are constantly scanning our environment and wondering, what is everyone else doing? We check reviews on Amazon or Flipkart because we want to imitate the best buying, eating, and travel habits. It's usually a smart strategy. There is evidence in numbers. But there can be a downside of it too. The normal behavior of the tribe often overpowers the desired behavior of the individual. There is tremendous internal pressure to comply with the norms of the group. When changing your habits means challenging the tribe, change is unattractive. When changing your habits means fitting in with the tribe, change is very attractive. You can choose to ignore the group or to stop caring what other people think, but it takes work. Running against the grain of your culture requires extra effort. Number 3. The powerful. High status people enjoy the approval, respect, and praise of others. We are drawn to behaviors that earn us respect, approval, admiration, and status. This is one reason we care so much about the habits of highly effective people. We try to copy the behavior of successful people because we desire success ourselves. Many of our daily habits are imitations of people we admire. You replicate the marketing strategies of the most successful firms in your industry. You make a recipe from your favorite baker. You borrow the storytelling strategies of your favorite writer. You mimic the communication style of your boss. We imitate people we envy. Now, fourth way to make habits attractive is reprogram your brain to enjoy hard habits. You can make hard habits more attractive if you can learn to associate them with a positive experience. Sometimes, all you need is a slight mindset shift. For instance, we often talk about everything we have to do in a given day. You have to wake up early for work. You have to make another sales call for your business. You have to cook dinner for your family. Now change just one word. In place of have to, put get to. You get to wake up early for work. You get to make another sales call for your business. You get to cook dinner for your family. By simply changing one word, you shift the way you view each event. You transition from seeing these behaviors as burdens and turn them into opportunities. Reframing your habits to highlight their benefits rather than their drawbacks is a fast and lightweight way to reprogram your mind and make a habit seem more attractive. These little mindset shifts aren't magic, but they can help change the feelings you associate with a particular habit or situation. To take it a step further, you can create a motivation ritual by doing something you enjoy immediately before a difficult habit. You simply practice associating your habits with something you enjoy. Then you can use that cue whenever you need a bit of motivation. For instance, if you always play the same song before having sex, then you'll begin to link the music with the act. Whenever you want to get in the mood, just press play. You can adapt this strategy for nearly any purpose. Now, inversion of the second law. Make it unattractive. The cause of your habits is actually the prediction that precedes them. The prediction leads to a feeling. All day long, you are making your best guess of how to act given what you have just seen and what has worked for you in the past. You are endlessly predicting what will happen in the next moment. Our behavior is heavily dependent on these predictions. Two people can look at the same cigarette and one feels the urge to smoke while the other is repulsed by the smell. The same cue can spark a good habit or a bad habit depending on your prediction. So highlight the benefits of avoiding a bad habit to make it seem unattractive. Habits are attractive when we associate them with positive feelings and unattractive when we associate them with negative feelings. There are many different ways to address the same underlying motive. Your current habits are not necessarily the best way to solve the problems you face. They are just the methods you learn to use. Third law, make it easy. So we will see what all techniques we can use to make our habits easy. Number 1, focus on taking action, not being in motion. The most effective form of learning is practice, not planning. So focus on taking action, not being in motion. There is difference between being in motion and taking action. When you are in motion, you are planning and strategizing and learning. Those are all good things, but they don't produce a result. Action, on the other hand, is the type of behavior that will deliver an outcome. If I outline 20 ideas for articles I want to write, that's motion. If I actually sit down and write an article, that's action. If I search for a better diet plan and read a few books on the topic, that's motion. If I actually eat a healthy meal, that's action. If motion doesn't lead to results, why do we do it? Sometimes we do it because we actually need to plan or learn more. But more often than not, we do it because motion allows us to feel like we are making progress without running the risk of failure. We do it to avoid criticism. It doesn't feel good to fail or to be judged publicly, so we tend to avoid situations where that might happen. And that's the biggest reason why you slip into motion rather than taking action. You want to delay failure. If you want to master a habit, the key is to start with repetition, not perfection. You don't need to map out every feature of a new habit. You just need to practice it. Number 2, follow the law of least effort. The law of least effort says that we naturally gravitate toward the option that requires the least amount of work. So create an environment where doing the right thing is as easy as possible. Conventional wisdom holds that motivation is the key to habit change. But the truth is, our real motivation is to be lazy and to do what is convenient. And this is a smart strategy, not a dumb one. Energy is precious, and the brain is wired to conserve it whenever possible. It is human nature to follow the law of least effort, which states that when deciding between two similar options, people will naturally gravitate toward the option that requires the least amount of work. We are motivated to do what is easy. Every action requires a certain amount of energy. The more energy required, the less likely it is to occur. And the less energy a habit requires, the more likely it is to occur. In a sense, every habit is just an obstacle to getting what you really want. So reduce the friction associated with good behaviors. When friction is low, habits are easy. Increase the friction associated with bad behaviors. When friction is high, habits are difficult. Certainly, you are capable of doing very hard things. But the problem is that you don't always have the motivation to do hard things. The idea behind making it easy is not to only do easy things. The idea is to make it as easy as possible in the moment to do things that pay off in the long run. Habits are easier to build when they fit into the flow of your life. You can remove the points of friction that hold us back. When we remove the points of friction that sap our time and energy, we can achieve more with less effort. Redesign your life so the actions that matter most are also the actions that are easiest to do. Number 3. Choose in the decisive moments wisely. Habits are like the entrance ramp to a highway. They lead you down a path, and before you know it, you are speeding toward the next behavior. You sit through a bad movie for 2 hours. You keep snacking even when you are already full. You check your phone for just a second, and soon you have spent 20 minutes staring at the screen. In this way, the habits you follow without thinking often determine the choices you make when you are thinking. Every day, there are a handful of moments that deliver an outsized impact. These little choices are called as decisive moments. The moment you decide between ordering takeout or cooking dinner, the moment you choose between driving your car or riding your bike, the moment you decide between starting your homework or grabbing the video game controller. These choices are a fork in the road. Many habits occur at these decisive moments and either send you in the direction of a productive day or an unproductive one. This is why mastering the decisive moments throughout your day is so important. Number 4. Stop procrastinating using 2-minute rule. Even when you know you should start small, it's easy to start too big. When you dream about making a change, excitement inevitably takes over, and you end up trying to do too much too soon. The most effective way to counteract this tendency is to use the 2-minute rule, which states when you start a new habit, it should take less than 2 minutes to do. You'll find that nearly any habit can be scaled down into a 2-minute version. Read before bed each night becomes read 1 page. Do 30 minutes of yoga becomes take out my yoga mat. Study for class becomes open my notes. The idea is to make your habits as easy as possible to start. Anyone can meditate for 1 minute, read 1 page, or put 1 item of clothing away. And as we have just discussed, this is a powerful strategy because once you have started doing the right thing, it is much easier to continue doing it. A new habit should not feel like a challenge. The actions that follow can be challenging, but the first 2 minutes should be easy. What you want is a gateway habit that naturally leads you down a more productive path. You can usually figure out the gateway habits that will lead to your desired outcome by mapping out your goals on a scale from very easy to very hard. For instance, running a marathon is very hard. Running 5 kilometers is hard. Walking 10,000 steps is moderately difficult. Walking 10 minutes is easy. And putting on your running shoes is very easy. Your goal might be to run a marathon, but your gateway habit is to put on your running shoes. That's how you follow the 2-minute rule. People often think it's weird to get hyped about reading 1 page or meditating for 1 minute or making 1 sales call. But the point is not to do one thing. The point is to master the habit of showing up. If you can't learn the basic skill of showing up, then you have little hope of mastering the finer details. Inversion of the third law. Make it difficult. So how can we make our bad habits difficult? Number 1. Increase friction. Increase the number of steps between you and your bad habits. Sometimes success is less about making good habits easy and more about making bad habits hard. The best way to break a bad habit is to make it impractical to do. Increase the friction until you don't even have the option to act. Number 2. Use a commitment device. Restrict your future choices to the ones that benefit you. A commitment device is a choice you make in the present that controls your actions in the future. It's a way to lock in future behavior, bind you to good habits, and restrict you from bad ones. There are many ways to create a commitment device. You can reduce overeating by purchasing food in individual packages rather than in bulk size. You can voluntarily ask to be added to the banned list of casinos and online poker sites to prevent future gambling sprees. Commitment devices are useful because they enable you to take advantage of good intentions before you can fall victim to temptation. Commitment devices increase the odds that you'll do the right thing in the future by making bad habits difficult in the present. Number 3. Automate a habit and never think about it again. One-time choices like buying a better mattress or enrolling in an automatic savings plan are single actions that automate your future habits and deliver increasing returns over time. For example, if we were to talk about nutrition, buy a water filter to clean your drinking water. Use smaller plates to reduce caloric intake. If we talk about sleep, buy a good mattress. Get blackout curtains. Remove your television from your bedroom. Technology can also be used to automate your habits. In fact, it is the most reliable and effective way to guarantee the right behavior. Technology can transform actions that were once hard, annoying, and complicated into behaviors that are easy, painless, and simple. For example, for medicine, prescriptions can be automatically refilled. For personal finance, employees can save for retirement with an automatic wage deduction. For productivity, social media browsing can be cut off with a website blocker. When you automate as much of your life as possible, you can spend your effort on the tasks machines cannot do yet. Each habit that we hand over to the authority of technology frees up time and energy to pour into the next stage of growth. Of course, the power of technology can work against us as well. Like binge watching becomes a habit because you have to put more effort in to stop looking at the screen than to continue doing so. Instead of pressing a button to advance to the next episode, Netflix or YouTube will autoplay it for you. All you have to do is keep your eyes open. Technology creates a level of convenience that enables you to act on your smallest whims and desires. At the mere suggestion of hunger, you can have food delivered to your door. At the slightest hint of boredom, you can get lost in the vast expanse of social media. When the effort required to act on your desires becomes effectively zero, you can find yourself slipping into whatever impulse arises at the moment. So the downside of automation is that we can find ourselves jumping from easy task to easy task without making time for more difficult but ultimately more rewarding work.